don't have a choice in this, Daisy. Say the word and this is all over.
My answer is no. Leave this place.
Daisy Moore grips the shovel tight. The blade scrapes against the cold earth, the sound sharp and hollow. She doesn't feel the cold anymore. Not after all this. The wind doesn't bite like it used to, the ground doesn't seem to care. It's just her, the shovel, and the hole getting deeper. The sun hasn't come up yet, the land's still dark, but she knows the light is coming. It always comes. She isn't sure why she's still here, why she hasn't walked away like her mother did. Maybe it's the weight of what she owes, or maybe she's still trying to bury something inside. Her father's body lies in the ground beside her, but there's something left unsaid, something that no amount of dirt can cover up. She's buried him, but the debt lingers, lingering like smoke in the cold morning air. His failures aren't gone. His debts aren't gone. She's still here. Alone. The earth shifts slightly under her, as if the land itself remembers what she's trying to forget. And then she feels its eyes on her. She doesn't look up at first. Not because she doesn't want to, but because she can't. She knows who it is. She doesn't need to see him. He's always there, like the ghost of her father. She keeps digging. Done yet, comes a voice, low and steady. Lucas McLean. The cowboy. The millionaire. Her father's debts were paid to him long ago, with interest, but here he is, standing like he owns this land, like he always did. She stands still, shovel in hand. She doesn't answer. She doesn't need to. He's always been a part of this, he's the man who made sure her father's name stayed tied to the ground, who made sure the farm wouldn't die out, even if that meant Daisy would never see a cent of what was promised. She feels the heaviness of the silence between them. She doesn't know why it stings now more than ever, but it does. He doesn't walk closer, just watches her, waiting for something she can't give. No words are exchanged, there's no need. Not between them. There never has been. Her shovel hits the bottom of the hole. It's deep enough now. She takes a step back. She doesn't need to say anything. She doesn't need to tell him that her father's death doesn't change a thing. It never did. But Lucas doesn't leave. He just stands there. Watching. Always watching. His presence is like a shadow over her, one she can't shake. For a long time, the only sound is the wind. Then he speaks, and this time it's softer. You'll never get away from this place, Daisy. You know that, right? Her jaw tightens, but she doesn't answer. He doesn't need an answer. He knows. They both do. The land holds them both in a grip neither of them can escape. She's not sure why he's still standing there, why he hasn't walked away like her mother did years ago. She's never asked him to stay. But he doesn't leave. He won't. Daisy stares down at the grave. It's not just her father buried here. It's everything she's ever tried to bury. The promises, the secrets, the debts. It's all still here. And Lucas, standing there like a figure from a nightmare, won't let her forget it. He doesn't move, doesn't make a sound. And as the last bit of sunlight breaks over the horizon, Daisy finally lets herself feel the weight of the past. It's too much to carry alone. Yeah, she says quietly. I know. But it's not just the past she's carrying now. It's the future too. And whatever comes next, she won't be alone. Not with him watching. Not with him waiting. They stand there, the two of them, separated by the grave and everything that lies beneath it. There's no need to say more. There's nothing more to say. The land will take care of the rest. And Daisy Moore, standing over her father's grave, knows that the weight of this land is only just beginning to crush her. The sun's up now, but Daisy can still feel the bite of the cold in the air. The farm, the land, everything seems stuck in time. The trees, the house, the fence lines, nothing's changed. The dirt beneath her feet hasn't moved an inch since her father's hands dug it. He's dead now, but his mark is all over this place. And Lucas McLean, still standing at the edge of the yard, his boots deep in the same dirt, his eyes cold like the horizon, has a claim on it too. Daisy turns toward him, wiping the sweat from her forehead, her movements slow. Her hand trembles slightly but she hides it, not wanting to show weakness. She feels his eyes on her, heavy, burning. "You know," he says, his voice carrying across the yard, "there's nothing left for you here." She straightens, the shovel still in her hand. "That's not your call to make." "Yeah, it is." Lucas takes a slow step toward her, the early morning sun glinting off his silver belt buckle. His walk is easy, but there's a purpose to it, a kind of self-assurance. "I've been watching this place for years, Daisy. It's dying. You can't keep it up forever." Daisy meets his eyes, steady but cold. "I'm not giving up on it. Not even when there's nothing left to hold on to?" She knows what he's trying to do. He's pushing her. Trying to make her bend. But Daisy's heard his words too many times. From her father, from the town. She's not interested in bending anymore. "I'm not selling it to you, Lucas. I don't care what you think you can offer." Lucas stops a few feet away, his boots digging into the earth. He stares at her, like he's waiting for something, like he's waiting for her to crack. His smile is small, almost pitying. "You don't have much of a choice. You're losing everything here. I'm offering you a way out." "A way out?" Her voice is bitter, laced with frustration. She wants to scream at him. Wants to hit him with the shovel. But she doesn't. She just holds it tighter. "You think you can just buy everything, don't you?" "No," he says, the smile fading. "I don't think I can. But I know I can help you." "Help me?" Daisy scoffs. "What do you think you're helping? You don't know me, Lucas. You never did." His gaze hardens. "I know your father. I know this land. And I know you're going to lose it." Daisy doesn't move, doesn't blink. "Then I'll lose it on my own terms." Lucas watches her for a long beat. The wind picks up, blowing dust across the yard. The sun cuts through the branches above them, casting long shadows on the ground. But it doesn't feel warm. Nothing feels warm anymore. "I don't want to see you fail," he says, his voice soft but firm. "I'm trying to help you." Daisy looks at him, searching his face for something, anything, that could make her trust him. But all she sees is the man who helped her father dig this hole, the man who took everything from her, piece by piece. "I don't need your help," she says, finally turning away, heading toward the house. "Then you'll lose it all," Lucas calls after her. "I won't be around when that happens." She doesn't turn back. Doesn't say anything. She just walks, the sound of her boots hitting the dirt like a drumbeat. Each step feels heavy, like the earth is pushing against her. Inside the house, the air is stale, the light too dim. The walls feel like they're closing in. She slams the door behind her, leaning against it, her hands shaking. The anger is hot inside her now, burning in her chest, but she can't make it go away. Not with Lucas's words echoing in her mind. He thinks he can save her. He thinks he can own her. But the farm is hers, even if it's sinking. Even if it's a broken thing. It's still hers. She walks to the window, peering out at the land. Lucas is still there, standing just at the edge of the field, like he's waiting for her to break. He won't wait long. He's too smart for that. Her father's voice, a memory from years ago, rises up inside her head. "This land's too big to die, Daisy. It'll hold you forever, just like it held me." But it's a lie. The land is dying, just like everything else. And there's no way to fix it. She watches Lucas for a moment longer, then pulls away from the window. There's nothing left for her here except the ghosts of promises she can't keep. But she's not about to give him the satisfaction of seeing her fall. She doesn't look back as she walks into the kitchen, pulling open a drawer to find a knife. Her fingers run along the edge, cold and smooth. She knows she's going to have to fight for this place, fight harder than she ever has before. But that fight won't be with Lucas. Not yet. He doesn't know it, but the real battle's coming. And it's not going to be about money. It's about who's going to claim the land first. And Daisy Moore's not about to let it be him. Not while there's a breath left in her. The silence in the house is deafening, the weight of the world pressing down on her shoulders. But there's fire in her chest now. And it's growing. The land won't take her down. She'll be the one to decide what it becomes. Daisy sits in the dark, the smell of stale coffee mixing with the dust in the house. It's too quiet. The land outside is still, but she can't escape the noise in her head. The voices from her past have started to come back, slow at first, like whispers. But they've grown louder now. The same ones that used to haunt her father when he'd sit at the kitchen table, drunk and broken, trying to put the pieces of his life back together. She can hear his voice now, clear as day. This land's the only thing worth anything, Daisy. Don't you forget that. Her fists tighten on the edge of the table. She hates that voice. Hates what it reminds her of. Her father's broken promises, his failed attempts at keeping this farm alive. His deals with men like Lucas, men who only wanted one thing. And they got it. Piece by piece. Daisy stands abruptly, the chair scraping against the floor. She can't sit here any longer. Not with those memories hanging in the air like smoke. She moves to the back of the house, past the room where her father used to sleep, the one that still smells faintly of him, of cheap whiskey and stale tobacco. The walls are lined with his old things, his old letters, the badges from his time as sheriff. All of it a constant reminder of the life he couldn't keep together. The drawer pulls open with a screech, and Daisy reaches in, pulling out an old letter. She hasn't read it in years, but she knows what it says. It's one of the letters from her father's dealings with Lucas. The words on the page haven't changed. They still feel the same, the weight of a deal made in the dark, a promise that meant nothing in the end. She throws it down on the table with a sharp thud, staring at the faded ink. Her father's handwriting is everywhere, on every document, every contract. And Lucas's name is at the bottom of every one. She can hear his voice now, the one that never left her father's side. You'll owe me more. The land will pay. It always pays. Daisy presses her hands to her face. She's not sure what burns more, the anger or the pain. The land, the deals, the lies, they're all tangled up in her. She can't escape them. Not now. Not ever. She slams her hand against the table, the wood splintering under her touch. The noise echoes through the empty house, like a crack in the silence. And suddenly, there's a knock at the door. Daisy freezes. She knows who it is before she even opens the door. It's him. Lucas. She doesn't want to see him, but she can't avoid it. Not anymore. Not after everything he's taken from her. She steps toward the door, pulls it open, and there he is. Standing in the doorway, his eyes steady, his expression unreadable. I told you to leave, she says, her voice low but firm. I'm not here to argue, Daisy, Lucas says, his voice calm, almost too calm. I'm here because I need to talk. She doesn't step aside. Doesn't let him in. I don't want to hear anything you have to say. I think you do, he says, his eyes flicking to the table behind her. Daisy knows what he's looking at. The letter. The evidence of all the broken promises her father left behind. He steps closer, just enough for her to feel the heat of his presence. You're not getting out of this alone, Daisy. You know that. I don't need you, she snaps, but the words feel hollow. She knows it's not true. She knows she can't keep fighting this fight by herself. Not against the land, not against him. Maybe not, Lucas says, but you're going to need something more than this house. More than the land. He looks at her, his gaze softening, just for a moment. You're carrying your father's weight, but you don't have to. I'm offering you a way out. Daisy doesn't answer. She can feel her heart pounding in her chest, the heat rising in her throat. She wants to push him out, tell him to leave her alone. But there's a part of her deep down that knows he's right. This place is suffocating her. The weight of her father's mistakes is too much to carry. The debts. The land. The promises that can't be kept. She doesn't move. Doesn't step aside. But something inside her shifts. It's a small shift, almost imperceptible, but it's there. A crack in the wall she's built around herself. "You think I'm just going to sell to you?" she asks, her voice barely a whisper. "After everything you've done? After everything you took from my father?" Lucas doesn't flinch. He stands still, steady as ever. "I'm not asking you to sell, Daisy. I'm offering you a way to keep it. A way to make something of it. By working for you," she spits. "By selling myself to you like my father did?" "No," he says, his voice lowering. "By letting go of the past. Letting go of the weight you've been carrying for years." Daisy shakes her head, the anger rising again. "You don't get it, Lucas. You don't understand what this place means. What my father's mistakes mean." Lucas looks at her for a long moment, like he's studying her, trying to figure her out. Then he sighs. "I understand more than you think." Daisy slams the door in his face before he can say anything else. The sound of it echoes through the empty house, filling the space with a finality she can't ignore. She leans against the door, her hand trembling against the wood. But she knows something now. She's not as alone as she thought. Lucas may be part of the problem, but he's also part of the answer. And that realization cuts deeper than anything she's ever felt. The land's hold on her is only getting stronger. And the fight is far from over. Daisy sits alone in the diner, stirring a cold cup of coffee. The buzz of the neon sign above hums in the background, a dull reminder of the passing time. The door swings open, a rush of cold air sweeping in, and a few of the women from town step inside. They eye Daisy as they make their way to the counter, their whispers low but sharp. Daisy knows what's coming. Clara, the oldest of them, doesn't waste time. She slides into the booth across from Daisy, her gaze steady, unreadable. The other women follow suit, sitting down one by one. They don't greet her. Not yet. The tension in the air is thick, like a storm about to break. "You're making a mistake, Daisy," Clara says, the words heavy with judgment. "This land's not worth fighting for. You can't keep it. You know that." Daisy doesn't respond right away. She just stares at her coffee, watching the swirl of cream mix into the black. She doesn't want to fight. Not today. But Clara's voice is insistent, pushing, prodding at the walls she's built around herself. "I'm not selling," Daisy finally says, her voice low but firm. "Not to Lucas. Not to anyone." Clara laughs softly, the sound bitter and hollow. "You're a stubborn one, aren't you?" Her eyes flick to the others at the table, the ones who have been watching Daisy since she walked in. "We've all seen it, Daisy. We've all seen you digging your own grave. But this land, it won't hold you up forever. It's been dying for years." The words sting, but Daisy doesn't let them show. She presses her lips together, forcing the anger back down. "I'll keep it. I'll fix it." Clara shakes her head. "You think you can fix it? This isn't about fixing, Daisy. This is about survival. You've been fighting your father's fight for years. It's time to let it go." The other women are silent, watching her closely. They know how this goes. Daisy knows how this goes. It's the same with every conversation in this town. The same accusations. The same pity. The same expectations. "You think this place is cursed," Clara continues, her voice quieter now, almost sad. "You think the land's holding you hostage. But the truth is, it's the people. It's the ones who stayed here. It's us. We're the ones who never left." Daisy's eyes flick to Clara, a flicker of something in her gaze. "What do you mean by that?" Clara leans back, crossing her arms. The other women shift, their faces unreadable. Clara's voice lowers even further, like she's about to share a secret. "You think your father was the only one who struggled with this land? You think you're the only one who's had to fight for something that never gave back? The silence in the diner deepens. Daisy waits, but Clara doesn't continue immediately. She can feel the weight of her words, the history hanging between them, like a shadow they all carry but don't speak of. "You're not the first," Clara says finally. "And you won't be the last. This land's broken. It breaks everyone who tries to hold on to it." The words cut through Daisy like a blade, sharp and cold. She wants to yell, to throw the coffee cup across the room and shatter the quiet. But she doesn't. Instead, she turns her eyes to the window, staring out at the empty street. The land is outside, waiting, breathing, alive in a way that feels wrong. "I know what you're all thinking," Daisy says, her voice trembling just slightly. "You think I'm just like my father. That I'm too proud to let go. But I'm not him. I don't want to be him." The women don't answer. They don't need to. They already know the truth. They've seen it before. They've seen the way the land drags people down, how it takes everything, leaves nothing but dust and broken dreams. They've seen it with their own families, their own mothers and fathers, and now they're seeing it in Daisy. "You don't have to fight alone, Daisy," Clara says softly, almost like an offer. "We're here for you. But you need to listen. You need to stop holding on to something that's already gone." Daisy looks back at Clara, her heart pounding. She doesn't want to hear this. She doesn't want to admit it, but the doubt creeps in. Maybe Clara's right. Maybe the land is already dead, and she's the only one still trying to breathe life into it. But the thought of letting it go, of selling it to Lucas, of giving up everything her father fought for feels like a betrayal. "I'm not giving up," Daisy says, her voice steady again, harder this time. "I don't care what you all think. This place is mine. It's mine to save, or mine to ruin. But it's mine." Clara's face softens, just for a moment. She leans forward, her gaze searching Daisy's face. "You don't have to ruin it, Daisy. You don't have to ruin yourself for it." Daisy doesn't answer. She can't. The words are stuck in her throat, too tangled to speak. The silence stretches, but the women don't push. They just sit, watching her, waiting. Daisy feels their eyes on her, heavy with pity, with expectations she can't meet. She's not sure what they want from her, but she knows it isn't what she's willing to give. Finally, Clara sighs and stands up. The others follow suit, their movements slow and resigned. They don't say goodbye. They don't need to. They know this conversation is over. But as Daisy watches them leave, a part of her breaks. Not from their judgment, but from the realization that she's fighting a war she can't win. And the land is a war she's already lost. She sits there, alone again, the weight of it pressing down on her chest. The land will never be enough. Not for her, and not for anyone. But she doesn't know how to leave. She doesn't know how to break free. Outside, the wind picks up, and Daisy can feel it in her bones. She's not free. Not yet. Not until she's done fighting the ghosts of the past. Not until she's made peace with the land that's held her captive her entire life. But that peace feels like a long way off. And for now, all she has is the fight. Daisy stands in the kitchen, her hands braced on the counter. The house is quiet, the air thick with something she can't name. It feels like the calm before a storm, but there's no way to escape it. Not now. Not when Lucas McLean is just outside, waiting. He's never far from her, always looming like a shadow she can't outrun. There's a knock at the door, sharp and deliberate. She doesn't need to answer it. She knows who it is. She takes a slow breath, straightens up, and moves toward the door. Her hand grips the handle, the metal cold beneath her palm. When she opens it, Lucas is standing there, just like before, his presence filling the space between them. His eyes are unreadable, but there's something different this time. Something sharper. He doesn't say anything at first. He just stands there, his boots rooted firmly on the porch, as if waiting for her to make the first move. The sun is low behind him, casting a long shadow across the ground, making him look taller than he is. "I'm not selling," Daisy says before he can speak. Her voice is steady, but there's an edge to it. She wants him to know she's not backing down. Not now. Lucas nods, slowly, like he expected this answer. I'm not asking you to, Daisy. She blinks, unsure if she heard him correctly. What? He steps closer, his boots creaking on the wood of the porch. I'm not here to buy the farm. I'm here to offer you something else. Daisy's brow furrows. She doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. I'm not interested in anything you're selling. Lucas's gaze hardens, but he doesn't back down. I'm not selling anything. I'm giving you an option. He looks at her, his eyes softening just for a moment. You don't have to fight this fight alone, Daisy. She feels a rush of heat rise in her chest, the anger flaring up again. You think you can just swoop in and fix everything? You think you can fix me? I'm not trying to fix you, Lucas says, his voice low. I'm trying to help you. I don't need your help, Daisy spits, stepping back as if the words themselves are enough to push him away. I've done just fine without you. Lucas doesn't budge. You think you're doing fine? You think you're winning this fight? He takes a step closer, his presence overwhelming. You're not. You're drowning in it, and I'm offering you a way out. Daisy shakes her head, the words tangled in her throat. She wants to scream, to tell him to leave, but something in his eyes stops her. Maybe it's the way he says it, the way he looks at her like he understands. She doesn't want to be understood. She doesn't want anyone to see the cracks in her armor. What do you want, Lucas? She asks, the words coming out strained. What's the catch? Lucas holds up a piece of paper, a contract. This, he says. It's not about the farm. It's about you working with me. Not for me. With me. Daisy takes a step back, eyes narrowing. What does that mean? What are you really offering? I'm offering you a partnership, Lucas says, the words coming out slowly, like he's testing them, feeling them out. You work with me on the land, with the business, whatever it takes to keep it going. But you don't do it alone. You don't have to fight every damn battle by yourself. Daisy stares at him, the paper in his hand feeling like a noose around her neck. She can feel the weight of his words pressing down on her, but she doesn't want to give in. Not to him. Not to anyone. You think I'm weak, she says, her voice low. You think I can't do this on my own? No, Lucas says quietly, I think you've been carrying a weight you can't bear. And I'm offering to help you carry it. Her heart hammers in her chest. She wants to throw the door in his face, but she can't. Not when he's right. The weight of everything, her father's debt, the land, the promises she can't keep, feels like it's crushing her from the inside out. But the idea of working with Lucas, it feels wrong. It feels like giving up. You're just like him, Daisy mutters, more to herself than to him. Lucas's eyes flash with something darker, something she's not used to seeing in him. Don't say that. Don't you dare put me in the same category as your father. I'm not him. I'm not trying to control you. I'm trying to keep this place alive. She looks at the contract again, the words on the paper blurring in front of her. She knows what it means. She knows what she's agreeing to if she signs it. But part of her wants to. Part of her is too tired to fight anymore. If I sign this, she says, her voice barely a whisper, what does it mean? It means you're not alone anymore, Lucas answers, his voice softer now. It means you don't have to carry everything on your own. Daisy's heart twists. She doesn't want to need him. She doesn't want to need anyone. But the land, her father's mistakes, her own broken dreams, they've all led her here, to this moment. She's standing on the edge of something that could either save her or destroy her. She takes the pen from his hand. Her hand shakes as she brings it down to the paper. The noise is loud in the silence, the scratch of the pen against the page. She signs her name, her future, her independence, all slipping away with one simple motion. There's no going back now. Lucas watches her, his expression unreadable. But there's something in his eyes, something that says he understands. She's not sure if that makes it better or worse. "I'll hold you to this," she says, the words sharp and final. Lucas nods. "I wouldn't expect anything less." Daisy steps back, pulling the door closed behind her. She doesn't know what she's agreed to. She doesn't know what comes next. But for the first time in a long time, she feels like the weight is lighter. Even if it's only for a moment. The land still owns her. But maybe, just maybe, she's starting to take control. Daisy wakes with a start, her breath caught in her throat, the room cold and suffocating. The shadows stretch long across the walls, too dark, too deep. She sits up, heart pounding, eyes scanning the dim room, but there's nothing there. The house is still, the quiet pressing in on her. Still, she can feel it, something is wrong. It always feels wrong at night. The wind outside howls, rattling the windows, but it's not the wind that makes her skin crawl. It's the feeling, the one she can't shake. It's like the house is alive, breathing with her, watching her. Daisy swings her legs over the side of the bed, her bare feet hitting the cold floor. She takes a slow breath, trying to calm the rising panic. Her father used to say the house had a way of speaking to you when the darkness came. He never meant it literally, but Daisy knows the feeling. The silence of this place is its own kind of voice, and it's been calling to her ever since she came back. She stands and walks toward the window, pulling back the curtain just enough to see the land. The moon is high, casting long shadows across the fields. But it's not the land that draws her attention. It's the well. She hasn't thought about it in years, but there it is, right at the edge of the yard, its shape twisted in the dark. Her father used to tell stories about the well, stories that made her skin crawl when she was a child. It was always about the things that lived there beneath the surface, in the dark. Things that waited. Her breath catches as she stares at it. There's something wrong with it tonight. Something off. The wind blows harder, rattling the trees, but the well, it's still. And the shadows around it seem darker than they should be. Without thinking, Daisy grabs her coat from the chair and slips it on, her feet moving toward the door before she even realizes what she's doing. The night air hits her hard when she steps outside, biting into her skin, but she doesn't stop. The wind howls around her, but she doesn't hear it. All she hears is the pulse in her ears, steady and fast, driving her forward. She walks toward the well, her boots crunching on the frozen ground. Her heart is in her throat, but she can't turn back now. She doesn't know why she's doing this. She doesn't know what she's hoping to find. But something pulls her, something ancient and deep, like the land is calling her back. As she gets closer, the shadows around the well seem to grow thicker, the air heavier. It feels like the world is holding its breath, waiting for her to make a move. She stops at the edge of the well, her eyes fixed on the dark hole at its center. She doesn't know why, but she feels like she's supposed to look inside. The wind dies suddenly, and for a moment, everything is still. Too still. Then, a sound. A soft whisper, almost like a breath. Daisy freezes, her heart racing. She can't see anyone, but she feels them. She feels eyes on her, watching, waiting. She takes a step closer, her breath visible in the cold air, the silence surrounding her thick as fog. "Dad?" Her voice is shaky, but it's the only thing she can think to say. The words feel stupid as soon as they leave her mouth. There's no answer. But the air shifts again, a sudden, sharp gust of wind that blows her hair into her face. She blinks it away and steps closer to the edge. Her fingers grip the stone, the rough surface cold against her skin. Another whisper, this time a little louder. And then a voice, just faintly audible, like it's coming from the ground itself. "You'll never get away, Daisy." She stumbles back, her pulse thundering in her chest. The voice isn't her father's, isn't anyone she knows. But it's familiar in a way that makes her stomach turn. She knows it. And yet she doesn't. The wind picks up again, stronger this time, pushing against her, but she doesn't move. Her feet are rooted to the ground, like the land itself is holding her in place. The shadows around the well seem to stretch, reach out toward her. It's as if something is emerging from the dark, something she doesn't want to see. And then, like a flash of lightning, the memory hits her, the night her mother left. The night her father drank himself into a stupor and told her about the curse that had haunted their family for generations. The curse of the land, the weight of it, the way it claimed every person who tried to hold on to it. The way it always takes. Daisy shakes her head, fighting the memory, fighting the pull of the land. She doesn't want to believe it, doesn't want to hear it. But the more she stands here, the more she feels it, something old, something dark, something that has never let go of this place. The whisper grows louder now, turning into a chant. You can't leave, Daisy. You'll never leave. She turns quickly, stumbling backward, the air pressing against her chest like it's trying to smother her. She runs, her breath coming in ragged gasps, her heart slamming against her ribs. The wind howls in her ears, but it's the whisper that follows her, the voice she can't escape, the promise that's been waiting for her. You'll never leave. The words echo in her mind as she stumbles back into the house, slamming the door behind her. Her breath is coming in gasps, her hands shaking. She looks around the room, as if expecting something to be there, something to jump out from the shadows. But there's nothing. Nothing but the silence. Daisy leans against the door, her chest heaving. The voice is still in her head, the whisper of it, like a warning, like a promise. She's not sure what it means, but she knows one thing for sure, it's not just the land that's haunted her family. It's something deeper. Something older. And it's never going to let her go. For the first time in a long time, Daisy feels the weight of it, the weight of the curse that has bound her to this place. And it's a weight she's not sure she can bear. Daisy can't sleep. The house is still. Too still. It's like the walls are closing in on her, the weight of everything pressing down. The well, the voices, the land, it all feels like it's inescapable. She hasn't told anyone about what happened last night. She can't. Not when she doesn't even understand it herself. She wants to believe it was just the wind, just her imagination. But she can't shake the feeling that something darker is tied to this place. Something that's been waiting. The knock at the door is soft, almost hesitant, but she hears it. She doesn't need to answer it. She already knows who it is. Lucas. He's been hanging around more lately, like he's waiting for something to break, like he knows the storm is coming. Daisy stands in the kitchen, staring out the window at the land. The wind is calm now, but the sky is heavy with the threat of more. The land always feels like it's holding its breath, waiting for something. The knock comes again, this time louder. She hesitates for a moment, then walks toward the door. She opens it, and there he is, standing on the other side. Lucas doesn't look like he's here for a fight today. He looks different. Tired, even. His usual confident posture is a little slumped, like the weight of something he's been carrying is finally catching up to him. You look like you've seen a ghost, he says, his voice quieter than usual. Daisy doesn't answer. She just stands there, watching him. She wants to close the door, to tell him to go away, but she doesn't. She doesn't know why. Maybe it's the way he's looking at her, the way his eyes are searching for something in hers, something that's not there. Can we talk? Lucas asks, his voice soft. It's not the businesslike tone she's used to from him. It's something else. Something personal. I'm not in the mood for this, Daisy says, her voice sharp. She tries to close the door, but Lucas steps forward, blocking it. I'm not here to argue, he says. I'm here because I think you need to hear something. Daisy sighs, stepping back and letting the door swing open wider. She's not sure she wants to hear whatever he has to say, but part of her knows she has to. The silence between them stretches, thick and uncomfortable. I don't want to hear more of your offers, she says, crossing her arms tightly over her chest. I told you I'm not selling. I'm not giving up. I'm not asking you to, Lucas says, shaking his head. I don't want your farm. Not the way you think I do. Daisy eyes him suspiciously. Then why are you here? Lucas looks down for a moment, collecting his thoughts, before he finally meets her gaze again. Because I think you deserve to know the truth. About me. About my family. Daisy's brow furrows. Your family? What does that have to do with anything? I owe you an explanation, Lucas says. And maybe, just maybe, it'll help you understand why I've been involved with your father's debts. With this land. Daisy's stomach tightens. She's not sure if she wants to hear this. Not after everything. But the way Lucas is standing there, his shoulders heavy, like he's carrying something too big to ignore, makes her hesitate. She doesn't want to know, but she's not sure she has a choice anymore. I told you about my father, Lucas continues, but there's more. A lot more. Things you don't know. Things I didn't want you to know. Daisy leans against the doorframe, her arms still crossed, her eyes never leaving his. I'm listening. My family, Lucas starts, his voice low, we're not the good guys, Daisy. We never were. My father built his fortune on land just like this. He made deals, broke promises, and bled people dry, just like your father did. But the difference is, he had someone to protect. Someone to carry the weight. Daisy doesn't speak, doesn't interrupt. She's waiting for him to finish, though she's not sure why. She doesn't want to feel sympathy for him. Not after everything. I was supposed to take over, Lucas says, his voice getting quieter. My father was grooming me for it. He expected me to keep the family business going, keep the land, keep the money, keep everything moving. But I couldn't. I couldn't be him. His words hit her harder than she expected. She's heard stories of rich families, of men like Lucas's father, but hearing him say it like this, hearing the weight of it in his voice, changes something. You left, Daisy says, barely above a whisper. Yeah, Lucas replies. I left. I left because I couldn't do what they wanted. I didn't want to be the one to keep the cycle going. I didn't want to destroy everything just to keep it alive. Daisy feels a shift inside her, a crack in the wall she's built around herself. She's heard about people like Lucas, the ones who inherit everything and just keep taking, but standing here, hearing him say it, hearing the regret in his voice, it's different. It feels different. Then why did you come back, she asks, her voice softer now. Why did you come back here, to this place? Lucas looks at her for a long moment, and Daisy can see the struggle in his eyes. I came back because I thought I could make it right. Because I thought I could stop the mistakes my father made. And maybe I could fix something, anything. I'm not here to control you, Daisy. I'm not here to own this place. I'm here because I owe it to someone, to the people who were crushed by this land. Including you. The words hang in the air between them, heavy with the weight of their shared history. Daisy's chest tightens, and for a moment, she wonders if she's been wrong about him. Maybe not everything he's done is for the wrong reasons. I don't know if I can trust you, she says quietly, her voice barely audible. Lucas takes a step forward, his eyes softening. I don't expect you to. But I'm telling you the truth, Daisy. That's all I can give you. Daisy doesn't know what to say. Her mind is racing, her thoughts a mess of confusion and suspicion. But in that moment, something inside her shifts. Maybe she doesn't have to carry all the weight by herself. Maybe the past doesn't have to define her. For the first time, Daisy wonders if there's a way out of this. Not from the land, not from the mistakes, but from the darkness that has tied them both together. And for the first time, Daisy thinks she might be able to make it right. Daisy stands at the edge of the graveyard, her father's grave looming before her. The wind howls through the trees, a low, mournful sound, like the land itself is mourning the choices made here. The sun is setting behind her, casting long shadows across the yard, and the sky is streaked with blood-red light. It feels like the world is holding its breath, waiting for something to break. She's here because she has to be. Because the land is holding her, and the ghosts of the past are too heavy to carry alone. But standing at her father's grave, Daisy doesn't feel the weight of his death anymore. She feels the weight of her own choices, the choices she's made to hold on, to keep fighting, to keep pretending that there's something left here worth saving. The silence stretches between them, heavy and thick, like the earth itself is holding its breath. Daisy knows what's coming. She's been avoiding it for too long. But now it's time to face it. You never gave me anything, she says, her voice low but steady. You left me here to carry your mess, your debts, your failures. You left me to fight for something you didn't even believe in. Her words hang in the air, sharp and accusing. The wind picks up, blowing her hair into her face, but she doesn't move. She doesn't look away from the grave. She doesn't need to. She's said everything she's needed to say. She can't stay here anymore. Not with the weight of the past pressing down on her, not with the land swallowing her whole. But she's not sure where to go. The world feels too big, too wide. And for the first time in her life, Daisy realizes that the only thing keeping her here is the weight of her father's mistakes. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to let them go. Daisy? The voice comes from behind her, low and soft. She doesn't need to turn around. She knows who it is. Lucas stands at the edge of the graveyard, his figure outlined by the fading light. He's not looking at her, he's looking at the grave. And for the first time, Daisy sees something different in his eyes. Something soft, something human. I didn't know how to fix it, he says, his voice steady, but there's a crack in it. I didn't know how to stop it from happening. I didn't know how to make it right. Daisy doesn't answer. She just watches him, the anger slowly bleeding out of her, leaving something emptier behind. She wants to scream at him, to demand answers, to tell him how much she hates him for the part he played in all of this. But she doesn't. She can't. Because she's starting to realize that she hates herself more for letting it go on this long. You don't owe me anything, Daisy says quietly. You don't owe me anything, Lucas. You can't fix this. You can't fix me. Lucas steps closer, his boots crunching on the gravel. He doesn't say anything at first. He just stands beside her, his presence solid, like a weight she doesn't have to carry alone. It feels strange, but it feels right, too. I know, he says finally, his voice softer now. I know. But I can be here, Daisy. I can be here for you. If you'll let me. Daisy turns to look at him then. His face is tired, but there's something in his eyes that makes her pause. Something that makes her feel like, for the first time, there's a possibility that the land doesn't have to be the end of everything. For the first time in years, Daisy doesn't feel like she's drowning. For the first time in years, she feels the possibility of something else. You don't understand, she says, her voice shaking now. This place, it's not just dirt and buildings. It's history. It's my father's mistakes, my mother's abandonment. It's everything I've ever known, and it's all falling apart. Lucas doesn't speak. He just stands there, letting her words hang in the air between them. And for the first time, Daisy feels like she's not alone in it. Not alone in the weight of it. I'm not asking you to save it, she says, her voice trembling. I'm not asking you to fix everything. I just need to know that I'm not alone. Lucas looks at her then, his face softening, and for the first time in their strange, twisted relationship, Daisy sees the truth in his eyes. He's not here to fix her. He's not here to save her. He's here because he knows what it feels like to be buried under the weight of the past. And he's offering her something no one else ever has a chance to stop carrying it alone. I'm here, he says quietly. I'll always be here. Daisy looks down at the grave, the weight of everything still heavy in her chest, but for the first time, she doesn't feel like it's going to crush her. Maybe it's not about saving the land. Maybe it's not about fixing the past. Maybe it's just about learning to live with it, to carry it, without letting it drown her. She turns back to Lucas, her eyes meeting his. And for the first time, she feels the possibility of something new, something more. It's not a promise. It's not a solution. But it's a step forward. I'm not sure where to go, she says, her voice quiet. But I don't want to carry it alone anymore. Lucas nods, his hand resting gently on her shoulder, the weight of it solid and grounding. Then you don't have to. The air between them is still, the wind no longer howling, the weight of the past lifting ever so slightly. Daisy doesn't know what comes next, but for the first time, she feels like she's ready to face it. Ready to face whatever the land, whatever the ghosts of the past, have in store for her. And maybe, just maybe, she can start building something new. Something that's hers. Something that's not haunted by the mistakes of those who came before her. For the first time in a long time, Daisy feels the possibility of hope. Daisy stands at the edge of the field, looking out over the land. The sky is bruised with the colors of dusk, the air heavy with the scent of earth and dust. The wind has calmed, the storm passing without warning, leaving behind the stillness of a world holding its breath. She feels it too, the quiet. The weight of everything that's come before, but also the possibility of what might come next. Behind her, the house looms, its broken windows and sagging roof a constant reminder of the past. The land is still scarred, the marks of years of neglect visible in the twisted trees and cracked earth. But there's something different about it now. It doesn't feel like a prison anymore. It doesn't feel like it's going to swallow her whole. For the first time, Daisy feels like she's standing on solid ground. Lucas stands beside her, his presence steady, unyielding. He doesn't say anything, he doesn't need to. His quiet support is enough, more than she's ever had before. She's not alone anymore, not in the way she's always feared. "We don't have to do this alone," he says finally, his voice low, the words a simple truth between them. Daisy turns to look at him, the weight of the past still there, but lighter now, easier to carry. She doesn't know what's ahead. She doesn't know how they'll fix this land or if it can be fixed at all. But the difference is that now, for the first time, she doesn't feel like it's all on her. It's not just the land they have to rebuild. It's everything, herself, the future, the family they've made from broken pieces. Her heart still aches for everything she's lost. For the years spent fighting alone. But standing here, with Lucas at her side, Daisy can feel the faintest pulse of something new. Something real. "I've been so angry," she says quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. Angry at him. Angry at myself. I didn't know how to let it go. "You don't have to let it all go at once," Lucas replies, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. "Healing takes time. The land's been broken for a long time. But that doesn't mean it's beyond fixing. And neither are we." Daisy smiles faintly, the words settling into her chest like a bomb. She never thought she could be free of this place. She never thought she could escape the shadow of her father, of her past. But somehow, with Lucas beside her, she feels the faint stirrings of something different. The weight isn't gone, but it's lighter. The burden of the past is still there, but it doesn't control her anymore. "You think we can fix it?" Daisy asks, looking out at the land again, the horizon wide and endless before her. "I think we can try," Lucas says, his voice steady, full of quiet resolve. "And maybe that's enough." She nods slowly, the weight of his words settling into her bones. She doesn't know if they can fix the land. She doesn't know if they can ever undo the mistakes of the past. But maybe that's not what matters anymore. What matters is that they're here, standing together, facing it. Together. "I'm ready," Daisy says, her voice firm now, the uncertainty in her chest beginning to fade. "For whatever comes next." Lucas looks at her, his eyes soft but full of the same quiet determination she sees in herself now. "Then let's start." For the first time in years, Daisy feels like she's standing on the edge of something new, something hers. Not her father's mistakes, not the weight of the land, but something she can build. Something she can own. They stand there together, side by side, the wind gentle around them. The land stretches before them, full of scars, full of history, but also full of possibility. They don't know where the road will take them, but for the first time, Daisy isn't afraid to walk it. She's not alone anymore. And maybe, just maybe, this land will finally be hers. Not the way her father owned it. Not the way it owned her. But the way she chooses to live with it. The way she chooses to heal it. To rebuild it. For the first time, the future feels possible. The past no longer has the power to define her. Together, they take the first step forward. And with that step, a new beginning begins to take shape. The wind carries them forward, but Daisy doesn't feel like she's being dragged anymore. This time, she's choosing the path. And it's hers. The sun rises slowly over the horizon, casting a soft golden light over the land. It feels different now, like the earth is waking up after a long, deep sleep. Daisy stands at the edge of the field, the same place where she stood so many times before, but today it's different. Today, she's not just staring at the past. She's looking at the future. The house behind her, though still weathered and worn, feels less like a prison now. The land doesn't feel like it's suffocating her anymore. It feels like it's waiting for something. Waiting for her. Lucas walks up beside her, his boots crunching softly on the gravel. His presence, as solid as ever, is a quiet comfort at her side. They don't say anything right away. There's no need. The silence between them isn't heavy anymore, it's a shared understanding, a shared purpose. They don't need to speak to know what the other is thinking. Daisy takes a deep breath, the air crisp and clear. It feels like the land's listening now, she says quietly, more to herself than to Lucas. But he hears her. He always does. Maybe it always was, Lucas says, his voice low. Maybe it just needed you to listen back. Daisy smiles faintly, the weight of his words settling in her chest. The land had always been more than just dirt and stone. It had always been about the stories, the people who lived here, and the mistakes they made. It had been about the ghosts of the past, her father's debt, her mother's abandonment, the years spent in silence. But now, standing here, Daisy realizes that the land doesn't have to carry that weight anymore. She doesn't have to carry it alone. It's still here, Daisy says, looking out at the land that stretches before her. Everything's still here. The mistakes, the memories, the promises we couldn't keep. Yeah, Lucas agrees, his eyes steady on the horizon. But it doesn't have to be what defines us. Daisy turns to look at him, his face softer than it's been in the past. There's no anger in his eyes now. No distance. Just something steady, something she hadn't seen before. It's not just the land that's changed, it's the both of them. Maybe it's not about fixing it, Daisy says, her voice quieter now, full of a realization she can't quite explain. Maybe it's about learning to live with it. With all of it. Lucas nods slowly, as if he understands exactly what she means. We can't change what happened, Daisy. But we can decide what comes next. Daisy takes another deep breath, the weight of it all no longer crushing her chest. The land doesn't have to be a burden anymore. It doesn't have to be the thing that defines her, her family, or her future. It's just a piece of the story, a story that's still unfolding. And this time, she's in control of it. We can rebuild it, she says, a quiet strength in her voice. Not just the land, but everything. Lucas looks at her, his eyes sharp, focused. You're ready for this, aren't you? Daisy smiles, her heart full of something she hasn't felt in a long time, hope. Not the kind of hope that comes from promises or dreams of escape. But the kind that comes from standing up, from deciding to fight, from knowing that no matter what happens, she's not alone anymore. I think I am, she says. Lucas reaches out, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. The gesture isn't one of ownership. It's a gesture of solidarity, of partnership. They're in this together. Whatever comes next, they'll face it side by side. The first rays of sunlight hit the field, turning the dirt into something rich, something full of promise. The land is still scarred, still carrying the weight of the past, but it's also alive, and it's ready to grow again. And so is Daisy. Let's start, she says, her voice steady, firm. Let's make it ours. They turn away from the graveyard, from the house, from the past, and begin to walk toward the future. Each step is slow, but it's forward. Every step, no matter how small, is one they take together. And for the first time in a long time, Daisy doesn't feel like she's walking alone. The land is still there, the weight of the past still in the ground beneath their feet. But it's not the land that will define her anymore. It's the choices she makes, the future she's going to build with her own hands. And that, for the first time, feels like freedom.